All in favor? Any opposed? Abstain? Carries. At this time, we could stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag. Time, Mr. Webb is going to recognize some students.
All right, well, we're just gonna have one student this evening, but Gianna, if you can stand up for us. And Gianna was our representative at the New Jersey School Boards Association 8th grade Atlantic County Dialogue, which is a big fancy title of saying that you got to sit up in a room in front of a bunch of adults and they asked you questions. And then you got the answer, right? And Gianna did a fantastic job. The first couple of questions, I think she was maybe a little nervous. And then once she got going, she was on a roll as far as responding. And we really enjoyed her responses. Represented Mullica very well. And I really enjoyed some of the things you had to share with them as well. So, and then you had grandma with you and your sister as well. And I don't know if your sister told you, but when you were up there, she said, I want to be here when I'm in 8th grade. You're setting a good role model for your sister as well. So congratulations very much. Yeah, so Scott, if you can take a picture. Yep. Yeah.
Take a couple. Thank you.
Thank you.
Way to go.
Yeah, thank you. Gianna, just to recreate the evening, so that you're sitting there like that, would you have anything to share from your perspective as far as what you thought about it?
Well, I mean, yeah, it was definitely scary. But I very much anticipated it to be different because they didn't really tell me like I had to talk in front of people, especially administration. Well, once I got rolling, it was very nice to see others' perspectives of how their school is and how different it is.
Gianna was selected by her, just a side note, she was selected by her teachers for being the most well-rounded 8th grade student. So certainly well-deserving. So Gianna, again, congratulations and thank you. Karen, thank you very much as well. We really appreciate it.
Very well spoken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. So I just want to say too, with those, there were what, 19, as Sadie pointed out, 7 boys and 12 girls. I was very uplifted by the responses of these 13 and 14-year-old children. I was amazed, and it's hopeful for the future.
Thanks, guys.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
So our other, recognition this evening is for Angela, who's here with us. Angela was, as we all know, a board member for 3 years, served the term from 2020 in the midst of the pandemic. Came through all of that and then said, okay, I had enough and we're going to move on. But no, we really appreciate your years of service to the board. And with all board members, when they move on, we offer them either a plaque or the opportunity to donate books to the school library. So Angela has chosen a book for the school library. So we have 4 books. 3 of them are Percy Jackson graphic novels, really cool ones. Sea of Monsters, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Lightning Thief. And then The other book is the 101 Easy Signs for Nonverbal Communication American Sign Language for Kids. All 4 books have a label, a sticker inside stating that the book was generously donated by Mrs. Angela Mayone, Board of Education member 2020 to 2023. So Angela, I'll let you take. And again, congratulations and thank you so much for your service. Those, and then they will, we'll be giving them to Miss Carr, our librarian, tomorrow to put into circulation for our students.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
I just want to thank you guys. It was wonderful serving with all of you. I learned a lot, very insightful, and it was bittersweet. I was a little disappointed to like not be able to come in and learn more, but I'm happy to have the extra time because like 4 kids keep me busy, and they were actually the inspiration for these book choices because there's many debates between my house and my sister's house between the kids on the Percy Jackson series. It is, they love the books and they talk to each other about it. They have their own code words and language with each other. And the sign language book hits close to home because having children that could not communicate and struggling to figure out what their needs were. A lot of kids, we don't realize, struggle with communication, whether it's because they're deaf, hard of hearing, or because they just don't feel comfortable talking to others. And to find a way to allow those kids to share what they're feeling is very important. So thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, should we have a picture?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, I can't have my phone.
Can everybody?
No.
Let's see. All right. We'll hold some of the books. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
We are jealous of your free time.
I'll talk next if you want to stick around.
Yeah, we can do soccer. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody. Good night. Thanks.
All right, at this time, Mr. Weber will go over the proposed budget for the 23-24 school years.
So this is just a very brief overview. The full budget, and I'll talk about the process in a minute. The full budget will be voted on by the board next month. This is the preliminary budget we send to the county. So to begin, let me just start off by saying, and we'll hit upon it again before, the state aid situation that we're facing, as well as all many districts are facing as far as the cuts. So despite all of that, what we have to keep in mind and what guides the development of our budget are several overarching themes, starting with our district goals that we adopt on an annual basis, which are also aligned to our strategic plan that we have on file. Keeping in mind, everything we do is for students. So taking into consideration their academic needs, behavioral needs, social, emotional, physical needs, those are physical spaces. The instructional, non-instructional things, mandatory requirements such as CUSAC, and then input from stakeholders. And that might not necessarily be a one-time meeting. It might be things that we hear throughout the entire year and that come up in conversation, as well as, again, we're still dealing with the after effects of the pandemic and coming out of that. So all of that goes into putting together and developing a budget that we have for this evening. So just kind of keeping in mind, again, keeping things in perspective, we're here for the kids. Everything we do is about the kids. So I always like to put some pictures and things to just keep that perspective as far as everything that we do is all about them and seeing their smiling faces. So this budget, 10 big items that we kept in this budget, and while some of them might not seem as big or maybe as important as others, they are all important in the fact that we were able to keep and maintain those despite the fact that we had our state aid reduced. So we're supporting the goals that we adopt every year. And again, they're aligned with our strategic plan. We're continuing to refresh and invest in our curriculum. Continuing to expand our preschool opportunities for our 3 and 4-year-olds. Technology purchases that we've been doing for several years now. Again, maintaining all of our programs and services. We'll continue with summer programming for every student that wants to take advantage of that, preschool through 8th grade. We have a health and wellness specialist through Linicare, reading and math interventionists, and grants, as I talked about last month, that are funding HVAC projects as well as other programs and professional development opportunities. And then we'll be taking a look at some facility projects that we can do around the school as well, smaller ones that perhaps would not be referendum material, but that we can accomplish in-house. So all of those things are in our 23-24 proposed budget. So as I mentioned about our reduction in state aid, this year alone was $227,819. The total reduction since 2020 is $832,000. That is not a cumulative total. So if we did a, what did we say from an accounting standpoint, and we did the compounded. If we did a compounded total, it would be much more than the $832,000. But I think it's important to keep that in mind that our enrollment is projected to be 4 students higher than what we were coming out of the 2021 school year, and yet our aid has been reduced by $832,000. And we know what inflation and costs have done over the past year, and we're still dealing with. So you see there, the one thing that has helped us out tremendously is our preschool funding has gone up quite a bit. And you see with the 22-23 year, the preschool jumped. That was the expansion, and we'll continue with that this year and moving forward. So the tax impact for a Mullica resident, if we take a look and just say for $100,000 for kind of easy figuring purposes, you're looking at an annual difference, an annual increase of $11.88. That's for the entire year. That's not per month. That is for the entire year. So per month, you're looking at $1. And I don't know, does a dollar even buy a pack of gum anymore? I don't think it does. So I think that's a great job by the board and Karen to put together a budget that keeps costs in line and keeps in mind the burden of the taxpayer as well. So again, we're looking at about just under $12 for an annual increase. And I believe the average annual home value in Mullica Township is $184,000. So I didn't figure that part out. I'll have that for next month, but maybe about $20 for the year for the average home. So some more cute pictures of our kids. We might recognize some of them in those pictures, maybe reading books. But love to see those smiling faces. And our next steps on our budget, brief overview of the budget this evening. If there are any questions, we vote on this resolution to send the budget to the county office. And then between now and April 26th, which is our board meeting, the budget is reviewed by the county office. It gets sent back to us, and then next month we approve it at our public budget hearing. So that is the process. So if there are any questions from the board or members of the public, we can take them at this time, but that is just a brief overview of our budget and the steps we'll be taking to adopt it next month.
Questions? At this time, the meeting will now be open to the public for comments. If your comment pertains to students, personnel, litigation, or negotiations, we would ask that you see the superintendent after the meeting, since the board does not generally discuss such items in public. Does anyone have anything to say? Okay, no comments? At this time, can I get a motion and a second for the Mullica Township Board of Education upon recommendation of the superintendent to approve items 5B and 5C?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion?
I'd just like to point out that as part of the resolution that indicates there's going to be a withdrawal of $1,244 from emergency reserve. The software didn't let me do that. So we're not taking money out of emergency reserve. We can take it out during the year. For help.
Where is that?
It's not on there. It's on the Thursday conference.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, it's
So
already.
you've already changed the agenda.
Yes.
Okay. All right, can I get a roll call then?
Mrs. Jacoba? Yes. Mrs. Kurtz? Yes. Mr. Roner?
Yeah.
Mrs. Warner?
Yes.
Mr. Winterbottom?
Yes.
Mrs. Wild?
Yes.
Mrs. Brownhill?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Any old business? Just a reminder for everyone, if you did not do your school ethics disclosure forms, those are due April.
Got 'em all.
Oh, you got them all?
Haven't had time.
Okay,
We got to the end.
okay.
All right, that's exciting. That is a record. Any new business? No. Any, committee reports, curriculum policy?
So for committee, we discussed, Scott gave a presentation and discussed, all the assessments that are given throughout the school year and the amount of time that is spent giving them. We will follow up on finding out if any students or classes are taking longer than they need to, and if so, you will find out why and bring back that information to us. Phonics was also discussed. Scott informed us, the committee, that phonics is taught through the Journeys reading series on a daily basis and through its intervention kit. He also discussed how Phonics First is also used with students who need the extra intervention. For policy, Andrew informed us that the policy manuals have arrived, but that he would be reviewing them first before getting them to the committee to look. And that was it.
Thank you. Finance and operations.
We reviewed the YMCA agreement for next year, our property and liability insurance renewal for this year, the lawnmower, the purchase of a lawnmower. We continue to review the referendum project, try and tweak that some more, as well as worked on the 2023-24 budget that Andrew just presented.
Thank you. Personnel negotiation.
We discussed personnel concerns.
Thank you. Any correspondence? Any updates?
Sure, I'll just update. I think, if you drop your children off on that side of the building or have younger kids, you would have seen it, but we have 2 new pieces of playground equipment, in the preschool area and then one right outside of 2, 3. So we're really happy about those. The kids seem to love them. And we'll continue to try to refresh those things, as we move forward. But I know those were 2 pieces that were, long time coming. We had started that well over a year ago and ran into all kinds of shipping and, ordering delays and things like that. So we're glad to actually see them in place and the kids using them. So we're super excited about those playground additions.
Point out the new furniture in the library.
Thank you. It was right there in front of me. Yep.
Feeding or.
Yep. So there will be a little bit more coming, and then we have some plans to move some things around the library and utilize the space a little bit differently in the coming months. But yeah, we're excited about some of the changes in the library as well.
Put down all the pictures.
It was still stuff there.
Computer station.
Being used.
Yeah.
Very. Nailed that.
You noticed.
I didn't until you pointed it out. When you pointed it out, I realized it was missing.
This time, can I get a motion and a second for the Board of Education to approve the February 22nd, 2023 regular and executive session meeting minutes? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? Item 8 is just monthly reports for their informational items. So at this time, can I get a motion and a second for the Mullica Township Board of Education, upon recommendation of the superintendent, approve items 9B through 9H? Second.
Stay.
Wait until we, any discussion first? It's
Okay.
okay. You're excited. We're jumping.
No, I want to forget.
Any discussion?
Well, I guess stating the obvious here, we see that, Karen's retirement is on the agenda. Obviously, as a board, we knew about that from last month, but it is sad to see that on the agenda, and, you know, I'll kind of save my remarks for when we get a little bit closer to the end with Karen, but, now that it's in black and white and on a piece of paper and it's becoming official, it hits a little bit differently. So, I just want to say that, you know, Karen, I'm going to miss you, and, we joked about it, but now it's real. So, now I have to deal with it. So, yeah. But, well, yeah, we'll see, but, yeah, but, yeah, I'll save it for later, but I just want to acknowledge you and everything you've done for the district.
Same from the board. We all appreciated your service and enjoyed working with you, and I'm sure we'll do a whole. Yeah. But just to acknowledge it. Any other discussion? And can we get a roll call?
Mrs. Jacoba?
Yes.
Except.
Oh, this is right. Yeah, from age, 9 each.
Mrs. Kurth?
Yes.
Mr. Roder?
Yeah.
Mrs. Werner?
Yes.
Mr. Winterbottom?
Yes. If I have this thing from C, 9C.
No, Melissa would have been last month. You're okay to.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah, regret for maybe. That's it.
If we don't accept it, does that mean she has to stay?
Yeah.
That is going through that. Last year.
Really?
But yes, it will.
Yeah, they changed the law.
Yeah. At this time, can I get a motion and a second for the Mullica Township Board of Education, upon recommendation of the superintendent, approve items 10B and 10C? Any discussion? Okay, can I get a roll call then?
Mrs. Jacoba?
Yes.
Mrs. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mr. Roner?
Yes.
Mrs. Werner?
Yes.
Mr. Winterbottom?
Yes.
Mrs. Wild?
Yes.
Mrs. Brownhill?
Yes.
The motion carries.
At this time, can I get a motion and a second for the Mullica Township Board of Education, upon recommendation of the superintendent, approve item 11B? Any discussion? Can I get a roll call?
Mrs. Jacoba?
Yes.
Mrs. Kurtz? Mr. Roner?
Yes.
Mrs. Werner?
Yes.
Mr. Winterbottom?
Yes.
Mrs. Wild?
Yes.
Mrs. Brownhill?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Can I get a motion and a second for the Mullica Township Board of Education, upon recommendation of the business administrator, approve items 12B through 12I?
Motion.
I'd just like to point out, we have a transfer of funds between Fund 11 and Fund 12 to purchase a lawnmower. That is simply because the board is required to approve any transfers between funds. So that's why that's on the agenda. And just our application to the state of New Jersey for our bond referendum. And just our regular, and the rest are regular. Approval.
Thank you. Can I get a roll call?
Mrs. Jacoba?
Yes.
Mrs. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mr. Roner?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Winterbottom?
Yes.
Mrs. Wild?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Motion carries.
At this time, the meeting will be open to the public for comments. If your comments pertain to students, personnel, litigation, or negotiations, we would ask that you see the superintendent after the meeting, since the board does not generally discuss such items in public. Are there any comments?
Yes. Oh, anyone have a comment? No, okay. The Municipal Alliance and the Police Department are co-hosting a Easter egg hunt on Saturday, March 25th at the rec fields from 11 a.m. and the age group is from 1 to 10. So it's a real egg hunt, the first one since COVID. We're excited. And if anybody wants to stuff eggs, we're doing 6,000 of them this weekend.
my goodness.
Wow.
How are you doing that?
I know. Everything's there. The police department dropped everything off.
We sent the wire out yesterday. I think I was sent home.
Yeah, thank you. And could you possibly do a robocall, maybe like next Friday?
Do like a reminder one? Yeah.
Sure. Really appreciate it.
Oh, geez. You could make it by like.
We will. Good, good.
Nice. You were 15 more days. Awesome. Nice to squeeze one more in. Yeah, but they missed out on a lot, so that's nice. It's nice you're able to do that again.
Or age goes to 12. So
So thank you for that information.
You're welcome.
Our next meeting date is scheduled for April 26, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. for executive and 7 p.m. public session.
Budget hearing.
Yes, thank you.
The April 4th is committee meetings over, is that right?
Potential.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not definite yet, so it's potential. So that's our committee meeting date. There's potential we'll have a meeting about the.
It's the
approval of the HVAC. Thank you. So Andrew will let us all know once, right?
Yeah.
Once we're sure.
Once we get a little
We'll
closer.
send you. All right, so the PTA update is that they are in desperate need of volunteers for bingo on Friday night, the 24th. So if anyone is able to volunteer, they could really use that. They've been doing a snack box for teachers in the lunchroom, and that has been very well received. They are working on setting up a photo fundraiser, possibly May 20th at the school for family and kid photos, which would have spring and graduation backdrops. So that's what the PTA is working on now.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
It was so stressful.
MTF, is there an update?
Sure. And just to circle back on the PTA, I did talk with Ms. Williams today about the volunteering. So I sent a message out to the whole staff asking, just remind people and see if they would sign up. So hopefully they get some more volunteers. Foundation, we had a meeting last night. We are moving forward with our teacher grants again this year. So I put a message out to staff today regarding those teacher grant applications. We also are moving forward with continuing our scholarships for students, both at the 8th grade level for activities and our graduating seniors. And we discussed some fundraising ideas for either over the summer or into the fall. So we'll have another meeting next month where we'll try to finalize all of those things and then get additional information out.
Good. All right, at this time, can I get a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Abstain? Carried, 7:30.